Hello, a very warm welcome to Happy Hands Knitting Podcast. My name is Nadine and I'm coming to you from northern New South Wales in Australia, and I'm originally from Montreal, Canada. It's a very warm day. I would definitely say that spring has sprung here in the Northern Rivers. It's probably in the 20s and I'm feeling it for sure. Okay, this is a knitting podcast, as the name would suggest. However, I do have something to talk about today, but I also have some yarn dyeing and some fabric dyeing. So that's going to be the main focus of today's episode. So I'm going to chat about my work in progress, which is a pullover, the yarn that I've dyed, 3 garments that I dyed with the same dye that I use for the yarn, and I also have a finished sewing object to share with you today. Okay, so jumping right in with what I'm wearing. This is a top that I made, no pattern. I just did yarn overs for all the increases and a V-neck shaping, and then I added this lace at the bottom with a crochet shell stitch on the bottom of that. And my finished object, which is the pants that I'm wearing. So I showed last week this is only not even half of it, the linen duvet or Duna cover set that I got on Facebook Marketplace. So I have cut into the first one and I've made myself a pair of Chanterelle Pants by Sew Liberated. And so I'll just show you how they turned out. Okay, I don't know if you noticed, but something that I did not consider before I started cutting into this fabric is, so like I said, it's a duvet cover. So basically it's got 2 sides, it opens up and you put the duvet inside. So I did not consider that the inside of the fabric is less faded than the outside, because this was, this is used, I thrifted this. So because I just opened up the fabric with its 2 sides and I cut out the fronts of the pants and the back of the pants, one side of my pants is more faded than the other. And I did not notice until it's actually the first step, but I was just like, oh, well, whatever. But when I was putting the back pocket on, I was like, oh, why is the pocket so much brighter than the rest of the pants? And then I put the pocket on the other back and I went, oh no. Then I realized what happened, but I thought, oh well, I don't really think anyone's gonna notice, but even if they do, maybe we'll just call it a design choice. Like, oh yeah, did she do that on purpose? Looks kind of cool. So this side is much brighter, kind of more of a green, and this one's a little bit more of a faded yellow. So I'm gonna keep that in mind next time I make something out of that, because I do have that really pretty kind of like a dark teal color that I want to make a lot of stuff out of. So yeah, I learned a lesson there. It's not often that I make something with fabric that has a right side and a wrong side, because linen is, pretty much both sides are the same. So I never really had to worry about that before, but definitely something that I have to think about for next time. Okay, and oh yeah, so also with this fabric, I was thinking of, I'm very inspired by the designer who who is called Thread and Sprout. I'll put a picture of her here. She makes these absolutely amazing color block dresses where she cuts these really cool shapes like waves or sunsets and mushrooms and all kinds of different whimsical things. And then she sews the bits of fabric together and makes, yeah, these really cool pieces. And I think she used to just make them and sell them, but now she's actually put out patterns, so you're able to buy the pattern if you want to give that a go. And so I was kind of like thinking about these pants. The color is pretty intense, and like I said last week, it's not really my color. I don't think it's very. I'm not sure if yellow is really my color, but on the bottoms, I'm happy to wear on the bottoms. Especially, I think it looks really nice with like a blue, which I do love. So I was thinking of making a navy blue linen top out of this book, which I got for a Christmas present from my kids. I was thinking of making the box top. So this company is called All Well, and you can also buy their patterns online. You don't have to buy the book. So the box top, but I was thinking of maybe making sleeves. I'm not sure if I'll have sleeves or not. Let me find where the pattern is in here. So there's lots of variations on this box top. You can add a ruffle, you can add a sleeve, you can make it into a dress. It's really a pretty versatile pattern. And here we go. I'm not giving anything away, that's just photos. There's all the different versions of this top that you can make. So it's pretty cool. So I was thinking of making one in that navy blue linen that I bought when I went to Melbourne from the fabric store. And then I was thinking of maybe adding an applique sun out of this color. So I'm not gonna go full color block like she did, maybe one day. I don't think it's tricky, but I just feel like I've done applique on fabric before when I made a quilt and I really liked it. So I was thinking of maybe just adding a really like a circle, very easy, and doing blanket stitch, so appliquing it onto the top and then maybe using some embroidery floss and making some sunbeams coming out of it to wear with these pants as a bit of an outfit. It's quite whimsical. I'm not too sure if I'll have many occasions to wear it, but I just think that it sounds like a really fun thing to make, and you know, that's the business we're in, is making fun things for ourselves. Okay, so let's get into a little bit of knitting. Sorry if the sun is kind of coming in and out, making me look a bit weird, lit up from one side. But here is my Felix pullover that I have been making for just over a week, I think. And here's how it's going. It looks very strange because I've done it in a bit of a different way. So I casted on, I said last week, I have the Felix cardigan pattern, and this is the Felix pullover that I'm just kind of hacking from the pattern. So I didn't start with the ribbing. I went straight into the stockinette and did the short rows and the raglan increases. And I'm using this beautiful, beautiful yarn from Stolen Stitches, which I got at the Yarn Bowl in Brisbane, which I got on a really good deal, maybe 40% off or something. And I snatched up the last 6 skeins. They're only 50 gram skeins. So I'm really kind of playing yarn chicken, I feel like. So basically, never minding the sleeve, but like up to here, that's 2 balls exactly. So I've got 4 balls left, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have enough. But just in case, I've decided to do the sleeves. So I'm working my way through this sleeve, and I'm hoping one sleeve is gonna be 1 ball of yarn, hopefully. That gives me another ball to go for the other sleeve, and then I'll have 2 balls left to do the body and also go back and finish up the ribbing at the top. So that's really fun. I'm in love with this color. It's just the most beautiful green. It's like kind of a foresty Kelly green, a beautiful, beautiful color. Yeah, I'm really excited to wear this one. I wear my Felix cardigan. I mean, I wear it so much, it's not even funny. Whenever I need to go in and just throw on something, I'm always reaching for my Felix cardigan, and so I feel like this is just gonna be something that I'm gonna get heaps of wear out of. And also, we might be going to Canada, to Calgary at Christmas, and I would love to wear that there because that's gonna be perfect because we go at Christmas time. It's very Christmassy color, but it's not just a Christmas sweater. It's gonna be an anytime sweater, but you know, it will be extra Christmassy, I guess. All right, so that's how I'm going with that. Did I have anything else to say about that? I am knitting that one continental style. Oh yes. I'll add a little video here. I actually, because I've already made this pullover once, I'm holding it up to the one that I've already made to measure it, because this yarn, I forgot to mention, is worsted weight, and the pattern is an Aran weight pattern. So this yarn is a little bit thinner, and I was finding that width-wise, it all was good because I'm using the 6mm needle. However, when I finished the same amount of increases as I did on my other cardigan, which is Aran, I found that the depth was not long enough. So I guess my gauge depth is not quite on. I know I was 1 or 2 stitches off this way, but I feel like I'm quite a few stitches off up and down, which I never really consider much when I'm knitting, but in this case it was very important. So I did go ahead and do 1 extra round of increases and held it up to the other one, and it's perfect. Yeah, oh, I did try it on too. I'll put a little video of me trying it on just to make sure that everything was fitting across here, and it's all good. Okay, getting into dyeing. So I used to dye quite a lot of yarn. I didn't do it for a business or anything, but just for my own fun. And I was always using food coloring for my dye. And then a couple of years ago at Christmas time, my husband bought me a few dyes. My dog's lying down there again. So this company is called Tintex, and it's an Australian company, but I feel like they may have just closed not that long ago, so I'm not too sure if you can still get this or not. But he got it in Brisbane at the actual place, because I think he researched it. It was a very sweet, nitty husband thing to do. He actually looked it up and he went there in person and picked some dyes. But I feel like they also sold this at our chemist. The chemist is the pharmacy, or drugstore, I guess you would say in America. Pharmacy in Canada, chemist in Australia. And this is the color Rose. And so I use that for this. And I added a teeny tiny bit of black just to darken the color a little bit. I'm loving the color, but first I'll say the yarn. This again was gifted to me by one of my lovely viewers, Kate, and it is Wild Earth yarn from New Zealand. And so I am continuing on my quest to find the perfect no nylon, non-superwash yarn for socks. So far, it's not going too good. I tried Retrosaria Rosa Pomar Mondim. I had holes pretty quickly, like within a few weeks. Onion by, I think the company's called Onion, Nettle Sock. That again had holes in it, and I was super bummed about that one because I made an amazing, in my opinion, I love the socks that I made out of that one, so I'm super bummed. So I have patched those all up, and guess what? All my patches they tore all around the patch, and new holes have formed. So I think I'm never gonna use Mondim for my socks ever again. I will use it in garments, like I'm happy to use it in a sweater, but it does not cut it for me for socks. I don't know. I've heard that it does work for other people, but it's not working for me. So I feel like what I'm gonna do is because I only use that for the toe, heels, and cuffs, I'm just gonna pull it out and I'm gonna get a better yarn, and maybe even this yarn, and do the toes, heels, and cuffs in that, and hopefully it'll work. So this yarn is 80% merino and 20% Lincoln. And I didn't twist it into a skein because I wanted to show you. This has never happened before. Look how curly it is. It looks almost like that ramen noodle texture that you get when you undo your knitting, but this is a brand new skein. So I just thought, I don't know what's happened here. Maybe the Lincoln, the 20% Lincoln is like maybe a curly a curly fiber, or I don't know. Hard to say, but when I got it, it was not like this. So that's super, super interesting. I'm so happy with the color. I think it's so beautiful. I love it so much. And you know, when you're, you know, unless you're an expert yarn dyer, you're just kind of hoping for the best when you add your colors in. And yeah, I'm super, super happy of how that came out. And I think I'm going to attempt another pair of socks from this. So my first pair, I've had many trials and tribulations with them. You can go back and watch other episodes. I did try to make this pair that was designed by Andrea Mowry, which is called the, hang on, surely it's gonna open up the right page, Crestpedia socks. But again, and she used Retrozaria Rosa Pomar Mondim for them, and so did I. That's the yarn that I bought from Stash, and now that I know that my other socks got all holes, I'm just gonna give up. I'm just gonna unravel them. It's not worth it, especially because it's a lot of work with the cables and the bobbles, and that's it. I'm not gonna try make those socks anymore. I am done with those socks. But I did see a lovely pair at the back. There's quite a lot of nice pairs of socks in here. However, I feel like it's not quite the same weight. This sock yarn from Wild Earth is 400 meters per 100 grams, so very true sock weight. But yeah, a lot of them use, I hope it's not this one. Yeah, a lot of them use, what is it called? Tuku wool, which looks like it's a little bit thicker, but these beautiful ones called Canerva by Rachel Coopy. I think these are so beautiful, and the yarn that she used is, let's check, it is 212 meters per 50 grams. So it's similar, if not even maybe a little bit lighter. So I feel like that's gonna be a winning combination to make with this yarn. So thank you so much, Kate. I'm very excited to give that a go. And hopefully by next week, I will have cast it on. Okay, so that was my knitting, my sewing, my yarn dyeing. And lastly, I have to chat about is fabric dyeing. Okay, so this very same dye, did I mention this is an acid dye? I used to dye 3 garments. So I was very safe. I had one of those, my husband's been sanding the outside of our house because we need to redo it. We live in a little wooden cottage, and I guess every couple years you have to strip off the old finish and put on a new finish, especially at the front of our house, because it gets all the weather, all the sun, and all the rain and everything. So it needed to be done. But he had bought himself one of those masks, respirator? No, I'm not sure what it's called. But anyway, so I used one of those because with this dye, it's a powder, and you really don't want that to get into your into your lungs, because it can be very, very bad for you. So I had one of those, and I wore a glove because I could only find one glove, but I didn't really manage to get too much on my hands. Okay, so I'm gonna go in reverse order of how I dyed them, because I'm gonna go from least favorite to most favorite. Okay, so the first one, if you go back and watch my video, I'll try to put a card here. I don't know if that worked last week. I tried to do it last week, but I'm not sure if it worked. Anyways, I had a video where I tried on all of my favorite cardigans. So I'll try to put that there. And I wore a hinterland dress, this one, that I had sewn out of a beige tablecloth, which I think was cotton and linen. And I just bought the tablecloth because it was on sale somewhere, and I thought, oh, that's great fabric to make a dress out of. But the color was really not doing anything for me. But it was great for that video where I tried on all the cardigans, because you could really see with the beige underneath, you could really see all the details of the cardigan. But it was just washing me out completely. So I knew that I wanted to dye it, and then I knew I was gonna dye these two things, but at the end, my dye pot still had dye in it. So I thought, oh, why don't I chuck in that dress that I've been talking about dyeing for ages. So here it is. I did add a little bit of red dye to the rose and the black. However, I feel like it didn't really get as dark as I wanted it to. But when I was finished, when it had been there for ages, there was still dye in the dye pot. So again, I'm not an expert dyer, but I feel like maybe it wasn't gonna take up any more dye. I did add citric acid, so maybe I didn't add enough, I'm not sure. Or maybe it was just, what's the word? There's a word when it's used up all the dye. I can't remember what it is, but anyways, so it's a little bit lighter than I would have liked, but I still think it's very pretty. It's definitely a lot nicer on me, in my opinion, than the beige. So I'm still happy about how that turned out. This is the one, so remember I said I put a little bit of black in it to darken the color. I'm not sure if this was a stain that was already on the dress or if that right there is a bit of the black dye that didn't fully get blended into the pot. I'm not sure. It's at the back, so I'm not too worried about it. I'll try to get it out with some stain remover, but if it doesn't come out, if it's just black dye, then that's fine. It doesn't really bother me. It's at the back. I won't have to look at it. But yeah, so that was a big success. Okay, secondly, you guys have not even seen this dress. I bought this dress between today's video and last week's video. I was at the secondhand store, the thrift store, the op shop, as they say here in Australia, and the one near my house, and they had a rack outside, and they usually have some of the kind of like newer, nicer garments. They put them on this rack outside, and then I saw this linen dress, but it was in kind of like a not Barbie pink, but like a light Barbie pink, kind of like a soft bubblegum pink. And straight away I noticed that it was linen, and I saw it was, yeah, this company is called Jump Linen, and I looked at it, it's 100%. It's actually very similar to a hinterland dress, but not quite. So it just has the gathers here in the front, and it's a little bit big on me, but I like it as kind of just like an oversized dress. And it also has a little shell button on the side with this little strap so you can roll up the sleeves if you want. But yeah, I loved it, but the color was not doing me any favors. So I wanted to try to dye it darker. So I used, again, the same dye, but did I change anything? No, so I used the same dye again, the rose with a little bit of black and a little bit of red, and I over dyed it. And I'm very, very happy about how the color came out. Yeah, it's much prettier. I think I would also, you know, if it was darker, I would be happy as well, but I don't know. I feel like when you over dye something, it can only take up so much dye. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was already dyed pink, so I was dyeing it again. So I feel like, what is the word I'm searching for? But I'm very, very pleased about how this one came out. And yeah, they looked really funny. I think I'm gonna put a video at the end of the process of the dyeing. And at the end, I've got all the dresses hanging up together and the yarn. And cause there's 3 and there's myself and my 2 daughters, my husband was like, what are you doing? Are you starting some kind of pink cult here? Cause I mean, I would argue these are all different colors, but he thought, you know, they are all the same. And it did look quite funny that they're all 3 of them together there. Okay. Whoa. My little blanket ladder there just fell. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, I feel like maybe 2 weeks ago, I showed you this other dress. Gosh, I've been really scoring lately with the linen dresses and linen fabric. I'm a happy girl. I love thrifting. I think it's great if you can take something that someone else doesn't want and, you know, make it your own, change it if you like to make it the way you want it. So I bought this dress that was, I'll try to put a photo of what the fabric looked like before, but it was check or not gingham, checkered. I think it's checkered. yarn dyed, and it was white with a very kind of light yellowy brown and then a little bit of a darker brown. And I tried it on because I thought the shape of it looked really nice, and I tried it on and I loved it. I don't have any dress like this. It's got these ruffles around the neck and kind of like a little V-neck, and then it's tiered at the bottom, and I loved everything about it except the color. So I thought I'm gonna just try to dye it pink, and I wasn't sure exactly what was gonna happen because of the checks. I was hoping, obviously the white was gonna go pink, and I was hoping that those kind of yellowy brown colors would go maybe peachy or dark brown. And so I added, this was the second thing I dyed after the yarn. So again, I added that same rose color with a bit of black and a bit of red, and here's how it came out. So you can still see the checks, not as much as I would have liked. I feel like you can really see these ones going across here, but you can't really see the lighter ones, but that's fine. I think it still looks really, really cool. So it's kind of like this dusty rose, and then these are just still brown, and I think it's so, so pretty. And yeah, I'm really, really happy about this one. I'm gonna love wearing this in the summer. The brand of the dress is Susan, and it's again 100% linen. There's the tier. It's a little bit longer at the back. Oh, this is a bit interesting. So I guess they used polyester thread on this dress because you can see the thread didn't dye. So it doesn't really bother me. I don't think I'm gonna, I mean, I knew that that could happen because polyester doesn't dye with acid dyes, but I thought worst case scenario, I can just go over with some pink, even try to take that out, or go over first with my own pink thread and pull it out, but I don't think it's really that noticeable. And yeah, you can see it quite a bit on the hem, but no one's gonna be looking so close at the hem. But yeah, I'm so stoked of how they came out, and I would really encourage you to have a go at dyeing if you haven't before. It's so, so fun. And yeah, so after I dyed them, I rinsed them like I did the yarn. Interestingly, the yarn soaked up all the dye. I'm not sure if maybe I put too much for those, or if yarn just soaks up dye better than fabric. But yeah, just rinse them after with a little bit of dish soap, even these, and then I hung the yarn to dry, and these I all put in the wash together. Especially this one, the color kept coming out, so maybe I didn't quite boil it long enough. So yeah, from what I've read, you have to try to keep the yarn at 90 degrees for half an hour or whatever you're dyeing. And I think I didn't quite have this one in long enough. I did try to put it back in a pot after with some hot water. But yeah, so just to be sure, I put them in the washing machine, all three of them together. So who cares? If they were gonna bleed onto each other, then it wouldn't be a problem because they're all the same color. But yeah, and I don't think they faded much after they came out. And I put them all to dry. Oh, one thing that was interesting was these two had kind of, if you can, oh, there's that black stain, but they kind of had a wave of like lighter colors on both of them. And I was worried that maybe they weren't moving around enough and those bits didn't get dyed. But in the end, it was weird that they were just dried spots. So somehow that bit of, maybe in the washing machine, those bits didn't quite get as wet or dried faster, or I don't know what happened. But when they were all 100% dry, once they had dried, those marks had disappeared. So I don't know what happened. Well, that's all I have to chat about for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you have something to keep your hands happy this week. Let me know down in the comments what you're working on. Have you ever dyed fabric? Have you ever dyed a garment? Have you ever dyed yarn? I highly recommend it. And let me know where you're watching from. Please give me a like if you like this video. And if you haven't subscribed, if you would consider subscribing, that would be amazing. I really look forward to talking to you next week. I will certainly have more progress done on my work in progress, and hopefully I'll have gotten started on those socks. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.